Life was good. It was really good.
Say bye. Wave.
See, we did good.
Most officers understand that something like this could happen to them any day, every day, any call. And just because we live in a smaller community doesn't mean that things like this don't happen in smaller communities.
.247, 8100, 10-6 at 8115 location. 8115 is 1015, 1019, starting mileage 38384. 20 cars going to be out 904 3rd Avenue, southeast, going to party on top of a resident. 10-4, I'll start your call for service.
So January 6th, the night of the shooting, I was out on regular patrol of the city, received a telephone call from Sergeant Schrader saying that he had received a telephone call from Captain Markson regarding a suspicious person. Arik radioed me on the radio and said that he was responding as well.
The first person to show up was Arik. And when he came down the block, he had his headlights off because he was kind of creeping into the area. And he parked his car in front of my house. And then he came up through the backyard and I whispered to him what I had found. And then Officer Heron arrived a few minutes later and he had kind of come from the other direction.
I got to the back of the house and all of a sudden this guy popped up on the roof of this house, and I was like, well, what the heck?
And so we started to yell at him, all four of us did, to yell at him to make sure that, you know, we were there, that we were the police, and we asked him, we told him to show his hands and to come to the edge of the railing and move, you know, come down or at least surrender so we could figure out what's going on. Officer Heron went up the flight of steps and then he exited a doorway onto the balcony, and he turned to his left, and the guy jumped onto the roof of the adjacent garage and then went up over the peak of the roof.
And as he was moving away, he shot a few rounds. I turned away, slipped on the roof, fell, and he must have slipped as well and started sliding down the grade of the roof.
He went up over the peak of the roof, and he and Officer Matson, he and Arik exchanged gunfire, and of course Arik was struck in the head, and Tim turned the corner first, and Tim saw the guy with the gun in his hand.
Next thing I know, Arik's down.
And Tim opened fire on the guy as he lay in the driveway. Arik was laying in the driveway in a very large pool of his own blood. He was convulsing.
Arik? Buddy? We're here, buddy. We're here, buddy. 230, repeat that traffic. Shots fired. EMS is fired. EMS now. Suspect down, officer down.
The BCA says at around 8 o'clock last night, police were called to the house for some sort of disturbance. That's when a Waseca police officer was shot and a suspect was shot. Both were taken to North Memorial Hospital in Robbinsdale. We don't know how they're doing at this point. There are a lot of unanswered questions right now, but hopefully we'll get more clarity at 10 o'clock this morning. That's when the BCA is going to be holding a press conference here in Waseca. We're going to have a crew here covering that, so you can watch for that on our KARE 11 Facebook page live and also for updates on air as well. Guys.
So when we arrived to the hospital, we were flying over north to try and land And I remember looking down in my seat, and it was just rows upon rows of first responder, law enforcement officers, lights, like just beaming from the ground up. And I think that's when it finally hit me that, like, oh my gosh, this is real. Like, this is bad.
I knew Arik was very, very critical. I didn't know if he had passed away already, if he was still fighting, if he was going into surgery.
Going through my mind just how bad is he? Where was he shot? I got to find out. It was heartbreaking not knowing what was going on for sure.
When Dr. Roach came in and had told us that Arik had been shot, he said, I want you to go back there and say your goodbyes, because I don't know if he's going to make it through this surgery. And so as I step out of the room and turn down the hallway, it's lined up with like 160 law enforcement officers throughout the state of Minnesota, and friends and family members off duty, on duty, and literally like the whole hospital staff. The lights were so bright from up above that I just put my head to the ground, and it was just a white tunnel until we got to the operating room. I told them that I love them, to be strong, you have to get through this, and I'll be here when you get out. And I just put the rest in God's hands. I mean, it was up to the surgeon, the medical team, and the higher power to just take over. Watching the emergency room door open and close, until I finally seen the door open, but nobody was coming. And then Dr. Roach came around the corner, and he whipped off like all of his medical gurney stuff and let out a huge sigh. And right at that moment, I was like, he didn't make it.
We got a fish and seaweed.
A situation like Arik's been in, where there's an injury to the brain, the fallout, if you will, from that is tremendous. And I see a whole range of reactions to what I was about to tell Megan. And I really admire how well she coped with this. Injuries don't get much more severe than what Arik suffered. So there's a whole cascade of things that can happen just because he's in the position that he's in. I wanted to be honest with her that I couldn't predict specifically how he was going to go. I couldn't answer her most burning question in the way that she wanted.
He said that he's a fighter, and he made it through. I remember running over there and giving Dr. Roach a big hug. Then they took me back to the room to go see him, and he was just hooked up to all these machines. He looked really bad. So then that's when the true test came for the night to come. Like, is he gonna make it through the night? Is he gonna make it through the next few days?
For us as surgeons, we're not just worried about the operation itself. If we can get the patient through the operation, that's a good thing. But we're also worried about the next few days to weeks and how that course is going to go.
Helpless feeling is not something that you're used to, not something that you want to, a position you ever want to be in.
Long term for his recovery, I think I think he needs to still stay active, but I think the biggest thing is positive attitude.
So 3 months have gone by, and it is time to find a facility for Arik to go to. We ended up picking QLI in Omaha, Nebraska. He actually got accepted into the program, I believe, 2 weeks before COVID happened. And the day of Arik's transportation to and from was like the day before the world shut down. So unfortunately, the girls and I were not able to go with Arik to QLI. When we said goodbye that day, I didn't know when the next time we would see Arik again. As soon as he got there, it was like they were so welcoming. One of the things that motivated Arik while he was down at QLI was that he was given the opportunity to have a dream hunt of a lifetime.
Chad Davis ultimately made contact with HHO, and HHO was amazing. We want to help. What can we do? What does he want to do?
Arik's hunting passion is on a whole nother level. Arik is obsessed. And when I mean obsessed, I'm talking about hundreds of decoys stacked in our basement in totes.
Was very smart on duck hunting. And again, very likable person. So we got permission to a lot of different spots from landowners. Working night shift isn't for everybody, but it definitely had benefits for being a duck hunter. Usually our shifts, one of us was done at like 5 and the other one was done at 7. So whoever was done at 5 had to get home, get everything ready to go duck hunting, so that when the person was off at 7, they could quick change into clothes and get out there and we could be hunting.
It can be a lot of work, and he was there and would put 110% into it and work his butt off to get a duck.
So Hometown Hero Outdoors, our mission is to support military service members, veterans, and first responders. That includes law enforcement. Bring them into the outdoors, be able to relax, do something different, be able to decompress, get them off the couch, help with the mental health, and be able to recreate in different ways. It might include hunting, fishing, ATVing, snowmobiling. We've done hot air balloon rides. There's a wide variety of different things that we do. What can we do to help this officer help get off the couch, do something that's going to help heal in this process, not only for the short term, but long-term goals, something for him to work towards and be able to heal with and be able to look forward to and do something different and get back to doing things that he used to enjoy before. I didn't want to inundate Arik and Megan with stuff that we wanted to do for him at that time. I wanted them to focus on healing, not only Arik, but as a family and trying to understand the new normal.
During Arik's time at QLI, over the 7 months that he was there, he had to learn how to, one, pretty much stand for long periods of time. He had to learn how to feed himself, learn how to get himself dressed. He had to learn how to bathe himself, how to communicate again. He pushed himself day in and day out to prepare himself for this wild, crazy duck hunt.
There were days Arik didn't want to get out of bed. And you could look at him and say, you want to go hunting or not? Do you want to walk or not? He would get out of bed and he said, yeah, I do.
Watching Arik struggle through his recovery has been tough. It's been tough on everyone in the family. Any type of situation that he has been in where it's been negative, he has always had a positive attitude. He has worked his butt off to get to where he is at. That's the way he is. He's not going to give up. There's no way. No way will he give up. Just like going after a duck. He would never give up. He knocked the duck down. It was wounded. Doesn't give up. Goes after it till he finds it.
At that point, we all decided that we would offer Officer Matson a trip of a lifetime in North America, and he actually chose to do a king eider hunt in Alaska.
But that hunt motivated him to be able to continue with his recovery, to get to the point that he could fly to Alaska and get into a boat on the Bering Sea and hunt ducks.
And that's the way his recovery has been. He just doesn't give up. He will go, and he will work his butt off.
To just watch him get out of his wheelchair and walk to me was like a miracle. Like, they just proved all his hard work, what he has been doing down there, was paying off.
My name is Arik Timothy Matson. I'm 35 years old, and I was a former police officer in the city of Waseca for 7 years. And then when I was shot in 2020, due to my injuries, I had to retire. I have 2 beautiful children, and I'm married to a beautiful wife named Megan. And I'm just trying to essentially be the best father and husband I can now after this incident changed my life. The biggest achievement I have as a police officer, I remember I was a deputy in Freeborn County, and a call came out, it was like 3 in the morning, of a 21-year-old who was out on the interstate bridge out here who wanted to commit suicide. And then I got there and I'm like, started talking to him, like, why are you so upset? He goes, well, I have a TBI and I don't want to go to my appointment in Rochester. And he was standing on the edge of the bridge and he looked down and he goes, if I jump now, I'll land right on the windshield of the semi. And I thought to myself, I'm like, oh shit, he's serious, like he's gonna do this right here in front of me. And when he looked away, he had a backpack on. I just got his backpack and threw him on the ground. And he stood up and he's like, thank you for saving my life. So I think the aspect of helping people out, because you know, police officers don't see people in their best of times. It's the worst time in their life typically. I was like, well, I can really step in and make a change in someone's life and impact them in a positive way. Yep, I started doing ride-alongs, I think when I was about 10 years old. Just kind of caught the bug for it, and like, this is something I can do, or I can see myself doing when I grow up. That's why I chose to be a police officer and save lives every day and just be a positive influence on people. And I think going into law enforcement, you always have an idea like, you know, it's dangerous, there's a chance I can get shot, but I'll have my vest on, so I'll be fine. But of all places to get shot, you know, you can get shot in the head, and then to live through that, it's like 1 in a million.
We set a date for October 19, which actually in law enforcement terms, 1019 means return to the station. So that was super cool to kind of put 2 and 2 together.
Coming home after QLI, it was like the president, I felt like the president coming home. I flew in on a jet to Owatonna and got off the jet, and there was just, I don't know, 150, 200 squad cars there with all my friends and family that I know waving to me. And I walked off that plane and just got to greet people. And I actually got to hug people because at QLI, when COVID was going on, I couldn't have contact with anybody. My daughters, my wife, my mom drove down there and I couldn't hug her at all. I was just saying hi across the room. So it was nice just to have that freedom to be able to kind of interact with people again. And, you know, that screwed me up because I couldn't get hugs from anybody down there. Well, not getting physical contact for 3-4 months at a time messes you up. And we had the parade in Waseca. There was Matson Strong signs all over, and people out waving thin blue line flags, waving at me when I drove by in the squad car. So I just knew that, you know, they've been thinking about me. They have my back, and they appreciate everything I've gone through to be there for them. And then someone started a campaign to put blue lights on their houses until I came home. So like even today when we drive around, there's still blue lights out on people's houses showing support for me.
Amazing to witness and be a part of. We felt the love that day. We felt like he's home. He's with us. What was life gonna look like for us after this? So after the full fun excitement of Arik being home for a couple of days, reality hits. It sets in. Not only did he get shot 7 months prior, but now he's at home with me and the girls. And we're realizing it's so real now that we have to live with his struggles. And he's no longer independent. That was a huge reality shock. It was devastating to all of us. But mentally, it took a toll. We were just reminded by what was taken from us that night. Having to live with it and relive it every single day since then has probably been the hardest part of it all.
Good. Yeah, thank you.
I'd say the hardest part of my recovery is how I've had to change being a father, because I can't roughhouse with them like I used to when they were younger. I can't run and chase after them or play sports, or just how I interact with them, how I interact with my wife, and making just alterations to my everyday movement and what I'm have enough energy and ability to do. They understand that Dad's different, but they know that what Dad did and sacrificed to save people's lives. I think I was angry because it was like, you know, why has my life almost been stolen from me? But thank God I'm still alive. During my time at QLI, my therapist down there, his name is Corey, and just pushed me. He's like, no, you are going to walk out of here. I'm like, but it's just so hard. And he's like, well, you can't be in a wheelchair the rest of your life. So he just came up with ways to push me every day. You know, walk this far. This is our therapy. This is what we're doing. These are mechanisms we're going to use to get you to do it. And then when HHO approached me about a dream hunt, I just sat back. I'm like, well, I know what my hunt is going to be right away. Because when I retire, I want to go to Alaska and hunt king eider. It's a prize duck. It's beautiful. It's extreme conditions. And I knew that that's where I wanted to go right away. Like, I've grown up my entire life hunting ducks, and this is what I've done. I would skip school to go duck hunting. But having that hunt in mind, it made me train. Okay, I need to be able to be up and be able to shoulder a gun and shoot and be able to see these birds.
I had no idea what a king eider was at this point. I had to do some research, and yes, I know it sounds weird since I'm an outdoor enthusiast, but these aren't things that are common to the Midwest and where we're from. So I had to start digging in my heels and doing some research of what a king eider hunt was, what it looked like, what success rates there were, where to go, and then finding someone who was suitable enough to be able to take on Arik's condition and be able to get us into an area where he had the best chances.
Well, the king eider is kind of a mystical creature. It's kind of like a unicorn. Very few people in the waterfowl world ever see one, much less harvest one, because 98% of the world's population lives in the Bering Sea, right at the head of the ice pack as it's coming down. And right now, the ice pack's about 80 miles from St. Paul, so every day the ice pack gets closer, more and more king eiders are migrating down.
There's a lot of difficulties revolving around what Arik wanted to do with the king eider hunt. As doing my research, I realized that these are very remote areas, that we have conditions with Arik and his handicaps at this point, with his injuries and everything that he's gone through, is how do we get Arik to have a successful hunt? It was finding the support in order to get us there and having the people stand around us to support us and stand us up, which was also incredibly rewarding. And one of the things that we do with HHO commonly is we do shirt sales. So one of the fundraisers that we began with was with Relentless Defender, who we became great partners with over the years, was to actually make a special edition shirt to support Officer Matson and what he's been through for his king eider hunt. And the support that we had through those is pretty amazing.
Duck hunting season was coming, and every season opener leading up to his duck hunt, we would get him out there, learn how to move with the waves again with your new, condition. You have to figure out how you're going to do this hunt out in Alaska, back at home.
Good shot.
I'm going to take credit for that one.
Growing up, I played, sports. I think I was 10 years old. My grandma says, well, you should try duck hunting with your Uncle Paul sometime. And I went out and I just fell in love with it. I think just when I was younger, just the challenge of going out and setting up the decoys so they're perfectly to fool the ducks to come in. It was kind of like a chess game versus the ducks, yeah. My first memory of duck hunting is going out with my Uncle Paul, and I brought way too much equipment. And he's like, what are you doing? You staying out here for like 2 weeks or what? We're gonna be out here for like 4 hours. You don't need that much clothing and equipment with.
And he was like a sponge. He took it all in. Everything I was trying to tell him, everything I was trying to teach him. Decoy placement, when to shoot the duck, when to call, what kind of call to use, feeder call, when not to use the feeder call. He would throw decoys on his back, and we would walk 100 yards with decoys on our back. And he was young, and he did not complain once. He loved every bit of it. He didn't care about being in waders and up to your knees in mud and waist deep water and being stuck in the mud sometimes and have to yank him out because he's got one foot stuck or his foot comes out of the waders. Every duck hunter knows about that and how that is. Arik, to me, when it comes to hunting, is not only just a hunting partner and somebody that I like to go hunting with, he is like a son. It was like taking out my son and teaching him how to hunt and teaching him how to shoot a gun and when to shoot, the time to shoot when the duck's coming in. And that, yeah, it was like, he's like the son I didn't have. It can be a lot of work, and he was there and would put 110% into it and work his butt off to get a duck because he loved the duck hunting and had the passion for it. And that was like a dream of mine if I would have had a son.
He was just an awesome shot. It was like I never got to shoot a bird because every time the guy pulled up his gun, he'd drop a bird. He was very dedicated. He knew where the birds were going to be. He knew what time the birds were going to be there, and didn't need a call to do it either. And he would do it by himself when nobody could go. And if Arik's pulling up on a bird, it's about to drop.
with all the changes, it makes me just be grateful every day that I wake up and have air in my lungs and breathe. Every night before I go to bed, I say a prayer. Thank you for another beautiful day, God. Please watch over first responders in this region and state. Just please watch over them as they serve their communities. And thank you for letting me be here today. But it is frustrating because I feel like the progress has been slow. But everybody else who sees me is like, no, Arik, you're so much better off from the last time I saw you 6 months ago. It's insane. I knew I wanted to hunt the king eider essentially from when I was 15 years old, and kind of started learning about all the ducks and where they lived and how beautiful they were and how hard they are to get and rare. I think just because it's beautiful and it's such a rugged duck to go after, and the conditions they live and survive in are some of the most extreme in the world. So I made the decision that this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to Alaska to the Aleutian Islands and hunt the king eider and get one of these bad boys. The pinnacle of duck hunting, that you went out, you managed to survive the conditions that these animals live in. I invited my uncle Paul because he's the one who's got me into duck hunting, and the other person I invited to come on the hunt was Jeremy Hinkie, a DNR officer, because he's been my hunting buddy back here for a number of years. And he was there that night and had to come back to Albert Lee and actually tell my mom that, hey, Arik's been shot. So he was there from the beginning. He saw me in my weakest hours, darkest times, and I knew that he would really appreciate going. It's kind of like having a, not blood-related brother, but I can tell him anything, he can tell me anything. So I would say Jeremy Hinkie is one of my best friends who I know I can call on him to be there for me. If there's a favor I need, or he needs a favor, he knows he can count on me to be there for him and help him out. We've been duck hunting together, I would say, for at least 10 years. So with HHL being involved, it motivated me because I knew how many people were working behind the scenes to make this trip a reality. And it's like, well, I got to keep getting better so I don't get out on this trip and not be able to do anything and let everybody else down. So it just was a daily motivator to keep working, keep working. You got this trip coming up and you got to be ready for it. Had I not had the trip coming up, I probably wouldn't have tried as hard to be able to shoulder a shotgun. I would have just thought, well, I'll just hunt around here.
After a lot of research, we ended up finding Charles Somerville out of Alaska in the Bering Sea. He hunts for king eider on St. Paul Island. Literally the founder of king eider hunting in the area, the pioneer, so to speak. At this point, our hunt was booked for January of 2022, and we were all excited about ready to go. We were in the conversation with Uncle Paul, Jeremy, our rogue production crew. We talked to Charles several times. We were getting ready for this massive hunt, and all of a sudden, this disease plagues the world and just changes life for everyone and everything that's going on. And it was an incredibly difficult time because we were trying to navigate exactly what this is going to look like for Arik's hunt. There was a lot of unknowns. At this point, we weren't sure if there was vaccinations that needed to happen for the entire team. We weren't sure if there was daily testing. We didn't know. It was a very, very hard, difficult time for us to try to prepare ourselves possibly for failure. Fast forward a little bit to December of 2021, I received a phone call from Charles Somerville that the St. Paul Island City Council decided that due to the COVID-19 pandemic that they were going to shut down the island and that no visitors were going to be able to come or go. Hunting was done. When I found out that the hunt was not going to happen at this point, it was devastating. All this time, this planning, this work, and all I could feel in my heart was that Arik was going to be let down, and this was going to set him back. We have an individual who is severely handicapped physically, and he's been working so hard for this last 2 years to get to where he is Arik mentally going to be okay? And that was really hard. I had many conversations with Arik, telling him I'm going to do everything in my power to be able to make this hunt work. And that included us having a meeting with the St. Paul City Council. I actually joined one of their city council meetings on Zoom, and I explained Arik's condition and what he's been through and what he's done to get to where he is, and how important this once-in-a-lifetime trip was going to be to him, and that we were all willing to get vaccinated, get tested, whatever they wanted to do, we were going to do it. As long as Arik got to go hunt, we didn't care, we would do it. And after just a very short deliberation from the city council, I was informed that not happening, not coming up. And then I really worried about Arik, because I was giving him hope that with my conversation with them that maybe they make an exception, and that didn't happen. So then I really worried.
I was a little bummed out, but I was kind of blessed too, because I was like, I can get stronger if I have another year to train. I'll be that much further along in my journey. And I think had we gone when we were first originally slated to go, it wouldn't have been as successful, because I was still pretty weak in my arms and couldn't really shoulder my shotgun very well. So the weight of the crown was okay. I had to wait for it a year longer.
After the conversation with Arik and Megan, I began to think about what we were going to do to ensure that Arik was able to do something and get him out of the house. We began to mash our heads together as a board, and we leaned on some very good friends of ours up at Beachside Resort on Mille Lacs Lake. For those who don't know, Mille Lacs Lake is a massive lake in central Minnesota, 130,000 acres. It is massive. If you haven't seen it before, it's like a city on the ice. People go ice fishing all winter out there. And that's what we leaned on, was Mike Verdea and Beachside Resort, in order to go up to Mille Lacs Lake, spend that time with Arik, and be able to have Uncle Paul and Jeremy there.
HHO hooks us up, and we go up to Mille Lacs. You know, Arik just got to be outside, hanging out with a group of guys that cared about him, eating some really good food, having some drinks, and catching an occasional fish.
Right around the same time frame, a lot of conversations happened with Charles Somerville up in Alaska about what we're going to do next. And he had alluded to the fact that in 2023 we're going to try again. And then full confirmation came at about July or August of 2022. So as we prepared for the hunt, the day came, and the excitement, but the anxiety were at the same level. And we were able to coordinate with Uncle Paul, Jeremy, and Arik to get to the actual airport itself down at MSP. The amount of support that was actually at the airport was off the charts. Airport Police Department was there. We had federal air marshals that were there to support him. Some of the local law enforcement from Waseca, the State Patrol came up, his police chief, his sergeant came up, and it was just a very moving experience. The amount of assistance that we were provided to help move Arik, a very handicapped individual, through the airport was incredibly welcomed, and we were very thankful for it.
And do not accept items from unknown persons to carry on to the aircraft. All checked and carry-on baggage is subject to search.
Jeremy, that means your man purse is going to get searched.
Could be the purse, the altitude. Rolling up to the actual gate of the airplane to load, and there was honor guards flanking both sides for Arik getting to the gate and being able to send him off. It brought a lot of people to tears, including myself, and it was amazing to see the support that he still had 3 years later, and just the excitement that they had to be able to watch him get to where he is at this point and be able to send him off. I can't put words to it. It was incredible.
You know, everybody's like, why didn't you want to hunt a lion or something? It's like, because I hunt ducks, that's what I do.
St. Paul Island is an interesting place. The coastline and the ocean is nothing short of epic. It is beautiful.
We knew that on that flight that he was incredibly excited. Arik needs to take naps throughout the day, and not once did Arik take a nap on that 6-hour flight to Anchorage, which told us that he was incredibly jacked. You just can feel it.
The mission is to get Arik a bird. How do we make this happen?
So as we touched down at St. Paul Island, I was I was thinking, all right, this is it. This is real. Now we are here, and this is where the Kings are.
With determination and forcing your will upon a task, and working at it as hard as you can, that don't give up, because Officer Matson, he never gave up, he never quit.
And Arik said, we're here, we're gonna kill the King.
I'm sitting there watching Arik, seeing the waves capsize, and then all of a sudden I'm looking at him thinking about everything that he's been through, everything that he's done, and Arik brought us all this way for us to die.
It just proves that he's still in there. He has that perseverance, he has that drive, he has that willingness to not give up. And to have the nation watching, step by step, his recovery to get to the finish line.
I think it's worth persevering and pushing through the hard, because once you get to that pinnacle in your life and get over to the other side and have a goal in mind and you achieve that goal, it feels so good. Look at what I've accomplished and what I've been able to do when people maybe thought there's no way in heck he's going to be able to accomplish that. If you don't try, you don't know. Just knowing I'm not alone in this recovery journey and this clawing back every day to get back to the new normal. There's always somebody there for me.
Have a good day there. All right, I love you, honey.
A good look hat for you to wear today.
Thank you.
Keep your head warm.
Because mentally, it does play games with you, because you get down on yourself like, oh, I wish I could do that. But you just know, do as best you can, get back as much physical ability as you can. I told a friend this weekend, if I could go back, I would go back in a heartbeat. Previous January 6th, and they're like, well, you're still the same person, Arik. We still have the same friendship and everything.
Not in yet.
Yep.
I'm gonna give you a little ride up into this boat. We're gonna lift you up into there.
You straight up. Okay, now we're gonna slide him. I got you on the back here, Arik. I got you here. Slide him right up in here. Okay, I got you, bud. Good? Yep. Grab it. Count 3. 1, 2, 3. Get right in here. Get on that chair. Chair under him.
Yep.
Okay, put your legs in here. There.
Nailed it.
You got Arik on the boat. Everything's ready to rock and roll. One chair.
Hey, buddy. One chair, I'll put you right there, okay?
Okay. Camera ride. Front slope.
So he was in the boat with Charlie and Paul. It was becoming increasingly apparent to everybody that this was going to be a challenge. Arik had a Dramamine from somebody.
The rocking of the boat, the riding the waves, I think kind of got him a little sleepy, but he also took, I believe, Dramamine or something that for the waves, and I think it made him very sleepy.
So the first day out on the boat, it was pretty rough seas, and I remember just bouncing back and forth. And I took a Dramamine that was supposed to be non-drowsy from Jeremy, but whatever was in that thing just knocked me out, and pretty much I was falling asleep.
We found out while we were out in the Bering Sea pretty quick that not only did the motion with the waves and the surf were difficult for Arik when it came to being tired, because he had been up so much the last previous 2 days, that the non-drowsy medication truly actually was pretty significant to him when it became to being sleepy and drowsy. That was a huge hurdle for us. in the first hour being on the water?
From being in a different boat a little ways away, it didn't appear he had interest in even shooting a bird at that point. He was not feeling well out there.
I shot a couple birds. We were out out in the waves, into the the angry sea and the washing machine.
So I'd tell Charlie, a couple hours in, I'm like, Charlie, we have to go back because I do not feel good. I don't want to puke out here. He's like, I understand, Eric. So I ended up going in early. I think as soon as I got to the bunkhouse, I was sleeping.
And then they got back in, and you could kind of see Charlie looked slightly defeated as well. And everybody just kind of had a bummer mood at that point, that this is not going to work the way it normally works on St. Paul Island. We're going to have to do something different.
When you're out king eider hunting, there's really only an hour that you have a good opportunity to actually harvest these birds. They call it the power hour. These birds are out rafted up overnight, and they begin to fly to find areas to feed. And that 1 hour is the most crucial hour for you to be on your top game to be able to harvest a bird. And these birds are flying fast. And not only are they flying fast, they have a wind to move them fast. So when you start seeing these birds move, they're moving at anywhere between 30 to 40 miles an hour. And in your typical waterfowl hunting situation, when you are aiming your shotgun at these birds, you probably leave these birds about 6 to 8 feet ahead of them. But in most cases out with the king eider, you have to lead them at least 12 to 15 feet because they are moving so quickly. So now we have a lot of complications that are happening with not only Eric trying to stay awake, but also maneuvering in his suit, having to shoulder a shotgun, and the difficulty of being essentially on 3 different axes when he's trying to shoot. We're in larger blind boats that sit up pretty high in the water, and they're very tippy.
And luckily, we had Charlie guiding us, because he didn't care what we did or what we broke as long as Eric got his bird.
I felt pretty confident that just being out the first day and having Charlie go, there's a king, there's a king. In my mind, I'm like, holy crap, those are right there, and we have a chance at them.
We started coming up with some ideas of how we could get a tripod set up in the front of the boat for Eric.
So we had to cut up the tripod and modify it, and then get out the drill and start drilling holes in Charlie's boat. And I've never met a guide, or really just a person in general, that would say, "Yup, drill as many holes as you need to in my boat, we're gonna get this done."
This morning we got a north wind, 10 to 15. It's supposed to pick up to 20. We came up to a point. We're in pretty good ocean swells up here, but we're trying something that I don't normally do. But to really give Eric every advantage, we're running the decoys off the front of the boat. You can see we've got our spread set up.
That morning when the birds started flying, it was a swarm of birds.
My peripheral vision, my left eye is essentially completely gone. I can see straight forward fine, but to my left side, I can't see anything. So when you'd be like, Charlie, or you'd be like, on the left, here comes one. It's like, well, I can't see. I have to turn my whole entire head and body that way just to be able to get a glimpse of it.
Eric, slide forward and get ready. We got 1 hour. We got to be 100% this morning. We got 1 hour. Slide right up and get ready. The gun's loaded. And when they come, you just shoot. Look for the white one. Paulie, help call them out. Motivate him to shoot.
And we went out on day 2 and finally had king eider come by.
Nice shot, Eric. Got him. Nice shot, Eric.
We got him!
Yeah.
All right, we got him! We got a king! Woo!
We got a king killer!
In the very far distance, we could hear a single shot, and then another shot, and then another shot. And then finally, over the radio, Charles Somerville hopped on.
Said the eagle has landed.
Eagle has landed.
Eagle has landed.
The eagle has landed.
Justin, you copy? The eagle has landed.
Yes! Eric got his bird.
Yes!
Yes!
Yes! That's what we came for.
The stuff that guy has been through. To finally get that bird. That means the world to him.
Look at that thing. We got one. God. Oh my God. What did I do?
All by ourselves out here in the Bering Sea, enjoying life.
Yes.
Looking at what God gave us. I mean, wonderful volcanic island here, 700 miles from nowhere. And
It's the, you know, I've guided thousands of kings, but this is the one that meant the most. And I beat it, Eric.
Thank you, Charlie. I achieved and harvested the king eider. We went up, picked up the bird, and I held it up and thought to myself, this is all worth it.
My buddy Wayne Salem, he sold shotguns with me at Shields. He's shot more mallards than I've seen ducks in my life. So Wayne, this one's for you, buddy.
Nice.
Thanks for watching down for me from heaven.
this is our 21st year, 21st anniversary out here in St. Paul, and I'm so proud that I got to do this with you and be part of it. I know it's been a challenge. I know it's hard. We've been fighting through some stuff. I want to, thank Benelli and Bog Gun Grips to help us out, and Boss Ammo and Strike Master, and everybody that's helped you, and Hometown Heroes. I know they've been the biggest part of it, and Chris. I just can't thank, and all the supporters that have supported you and your family, your wife Megan. I just think that they don't realize how hard this hunt is. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
It sounds cliche, but if you put the work in, you can accomplish whatever you want to. I felt like I accomplished something huge just to be there that day, out in that boat and having the opportunity to harvest that bird. So if someone has been in a similar situation to me and they're just starting their recovery process, I would say just try to look at what to be grateful for, and then don't forget to tell those people how grateful you are of them. Your friends, your family, your church, whoever is there to support you, your community, just let them know. I appreciate it, and it helped me get through my darkest hours in life.
All that effort that HHO he put into it, he accomplished his mission. He went to Alaska, to the middle of the Bering Sea, and got his duck.
I think the king eider represents the duck of a lifetime. It meant the world to him. And he is so grateful for everybody.
HHO is amazing for giving my husband this ultimate dream hunt trip, and all the hands and all the community members for supporting and donating and making this hunt happen for Eric. I mean, we are forever grateful. We would have never been able to do this without all of you guys.
One of the large things that I thought about after Eric had finally harvested his bird is just the magnitude of everything that has been through, not only him and his injury, his department, his family, Megan and his daughters, his immediate family that surrounded him, his friends, but then also all the support that was provided from everyone who bought a shirt, multiple shirts, provided gear for him, his float suits, his small donations to his large donations, that all the support finally came full circle and was able to get him on a dream hunt that he will always be able to remember So the next legacy trip that we are working on, Arik has the final say in the next person. Then the next one that's after that, Arik and the second legacy trip recipient will have a vote on who the next person is for the third trip. So it doesn't just stop there. We're gonna build a bond between these individuals who have been through something significant in their life and has forever changed their lives. And we are very proud that we get to call these people family and have them continue being a part of the legacy trip for years to come.
It's not a finale to Arik's journey. It's one peak on a mountain range. All the stuff he had to go through, and he climbed up, and he got what he came for. He shot a king eider in Alaska. I think the eider hunt showed him that he's capable of doing whatever he wants when he tries for it, and that was a huge step to his recovery. He knows he can do stuff. He might need help from people, but there's plenty of people willing to help him.
And one at a time. I mean, we got his birds on day 2. Uncle Paulie shot a couple of real nice ones day 1. The other guys that were here with the group, they got some nice birds the first day, and then that last day we really just banged them up. Everybody else went out. Arik had decided he was going to just take a break, and he'd got his king eider, and the weather turned bad, so everybody else went out on the Zodiacs that last day because the harbor, it was too rough to hunt on the harbor side, so we launched the Zodiacs and did our little Navy SEAL assault, and we banged them up, and it was a great finish to the week. Everybody got birds, the whole group. We could have made it happen with all the support behind the scenes, with everyone. There's so many people that have helped and contributed and made donations. So we just want to thank everybody for being good Americans and continue to support the law enforcement and our military that have been injured in the line of duty. God bless.
Thank you, Charlie.
Yep.
If you were to see him now, what are something you would say to him?
Do what's important to you, and that's the key.
Sure.
And I think that's cool that you know so clearly, you, Arik, you know so clearly, what's motivating you. More power to you. Go after it.
Sure. Well, that's good, because I have a surprise for you.
Uh-oh. Oh, jeez.
There's a man to see my life.
Hey, man, look at you.
Thank you.
You ready to dance?
I danced this weekend until 1 in the morning.
Did you really?
At a wedding, yeah.
Awesome. Oh, you guys rock.
You rock.
This means so much. You're catching me completely by surprise.
I know. I kind of felt like we were giving a surprise birthday party on the way up from the parking ramp. I'm like, he's got no idea we're here.
It's your lifelong dream. I'm so happy for you because I know that it's so important to you because of your duck hunting, your waterfowling background. We used to talk about painting decoys and about making decoys, which was something that you were going to do from the very beginning. And I know that this trip is going to bring healing to you, and I know that you and Jeremy are going to have a great time.
Arik, can't wait to see you holding your dream duck. I know that it means a lot. Wishing you the best. Super proud of you, and can't wait to hear your phone call saying you got one. Love you, buddy.
I think it's phenomenal that there's programs and organizations out there that help our brothers in blue and military veterans or soldiers that are wounded in the line of duty. It's nice to know that assistance is out there. I very thankful that Arik's gotten all the help and assistance that he's gotten.
So if I had to go back and thank everybody who made this trip reality, obviously Hometown Heroes and the other sponsors, Charles Somerville and Shields for giving us all the awesome gear, and Strike Master Benelli provided me with a shotgun that is specifically made for those type of elements. And all the other organizations out there that supported me. I can't name all of you, but I'm not meaning to forget anybody, but just thank you for believing in me and lending whatever resources you have to make this reality. And now I can enjoy this mount and this memory for forever in my life.
being able to see Arik hold that bird and finally complete that legacy trip hunt for Arik and create this new era of legacy trips for others, you know, the trials, tribulations, the ups and downs, the different hurdles that we had to overcome, worth every ounce of energy ever put into it. It was something that I will always hold dear to me, and these friendships that we've built between Uncle Paul, Jeremy, and the road crew, the Somerville crew, and all the guides up there, like these are relationships that will never go away.
Duck hunting essentially is my happy place because I can just get out, enjoy God's country, and see things you don't see when you're laying in a bed, and create more memories with Jeremy, my Uncle Paul, and everybody.
That's just one mountain that Arik's climbed. He's got a lot more left to climb, and each one's going to be a different challenge for him. And it might have the same hiccups that this hunt and this adventure did, but he's it's definitely not the finale. He's got a lot more stuff that he wants to do and accomplish, and hopefully I can be there with him when he does it too.
So Arik's recovery for the future, I mean, like all the doctors say, it's all in here, and it's up to him. And I think now, having done this hunt and seen his capabilities within himself, what he can do and what he's capable of, I think sky's the limit. So now that Arik has gotten his duck, I asked him, I'm like, what's next?
I might try harvesting all 42 ducks that are available in the North America. I think I have about 12 left. So I'll probably look at where I can go to get the remaining 12 ducks in the United States, try to get those and create the North American Challenge of waterfowl is what it's referred to, and I know Charlie's a big part of that.
And he already has the king, so how hard can it be, right?
Honestly, I give it mostly to God, because that night he could have chose to take me off this world, but he chose to keep me around for a bigger purpose. I don't have the energy I once had, but this is the reality of life, and be grateful you have this day. So just trust in God and have faith in him, and he'll do what's right and just for you.
Hey, Doug.
Hello, Chris. How you doing?
Good. How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. How's things? Where are you now? Are you still in Texas?
Yeah, I'm still in Texas.
Cool. How's things been?
Kind of warm down here.
Yeah, you guys had what, a whole month in over the hundreds?
Yes, it got a little cool this past week. It was about 98, 99. But
it got a little cool.
Down.
Cooled off a bit. That's awesome. So, hey, thanks for hopping on here. I just wanted to let you know that, after this long awaited period and everything that's happened here, that you were chosen as the next legacy trip recipient. So you're going to get to be able to take a trip of a lifetime.
Oh, can't wait.
I'm excited, man. I'm glad to have you here and glad that you're here with us. And we know that you've been through a lot in your life and everything that's happening. And we appreciate your service and everything you've given, and now it's time for you to go and have some fun.